All right, everybody. We are back. Welcome to Teaching Crypto. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Please hit that like, that subscribe button. I hope you stayed with us. Thank you so much. Some crazy things happen, and yeah, it's been a while for you, Mr. FOMO, but it's also been a while for me. It's not the October we really dreamed of. We dreamed of, doing several shows a week. That hasn't happened, unfortunately. Things out of our control, and we thought the market would be way better. I thought this whole cycle would be different. What the heck has happened here? 110. I mean, we hit 100K all the way back in December. I remember you having that cigar, and that was 9 months ago. And to be honest with you, not a lot has happened. Let's keep it real. In fact, I was reading all over the internet this week how sentiment has never been more down during a bull run. There are some people that are afraid that we topped out at 196 earlier this month, a few weeks ago. I'm still holding out hope, but man, it's getting tougher and tougher. I mean, in a few hours here, it's going to be the 24th of October. And you know how I feel about holding in November and December. But you really have no choice unless you got out. I mean, you could take your profits. Well, I mean, if you were heavy into Bitcoin and you got in before 30K, even if your alts got disseminated, you still probably did okay. But how are you feeling right now? Give us your honest assessment of where things are.
Honestly, I feel like it is over for this bull run. I feel like Bitcoin is going to do what it does, but as far as altcoins are concerned, everything is done. Unless you're into micro caps and you can find these things that are going to pump from a $200,000 micro cap to something much bigger, you're really not going to find any kind of money in this market right now, especially not in altcoins, not the way that the market is diluted. We're talking about over 20 million coins on the market now. That's just not what it was in other bull runs. And the money is too spread out. And so altcoins, they're not going to pump, and then they're going to get decimated, like you said, in the bear market. So when we reach crypto winter, some of these projects, I'm assuming some of these projects will end up disappearing. And maybe that's what crypto needs, is for some of these projects to wash out in the crypto winter. So
the problem, though,
get back down to a decent number of.
Here's the problem with that theory: other people just create more bogus tokens. That's kind of the reality of where we are. Yes and no. I agree with you, but
well, then you're talking about the mentality of the market, right? And you're talking about the mentality of the regular crypto investor, being that they're just degen gamblers instead of people who are actually investing. And that's a problem too, because you don't have real investors in the space. You're not talking about people that are holding long term. One of the metrics that I really like from Coinbase that they use is your average hold times for these coins. And a lot of these coins, their average hold times, even for the OGs, are maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. You're not talking about coins that are being held for years on end. So it really comes down to the market being diluted, the money being too spread out, and then the attitude of the regular crypto investor just isn't what it should be.
Well, let's take a look at things here. So Bitcoin right now, my dream was 140 this month. Well, unless we have the greatest week ever in crypto over the next 7 days, probably not going to happen. However, we have kind of recovered from that 106, right? All-time low, actually dotted 105 for a little bit. We're at 110.
Okay? To move it just to move it from here to 135 would take $500 billion.
And that can happen, though. But the way they're printing, they announce they're going to print another 1.5 billion in the next month. So that's the way they're money printing all over the world in the money supply. That's actually, if the sentiment was better, could happen. We saw Trump today actually, let CZ officially CZ was already out of jail. Not only did he pardon him, but he's also going to be an advisor to the U.S. Bitcoin Reserve, that was bullish news actually for crypto. Your thought?
And it did basically nothing to the market.
Well, I mean, we were struggling to hold 110, so we got to 110. Yeah, alts. I mean, it's been a rough 9 months. There's no way around it. But I'm still holding out hope for one more rally here. You think I'm crazy?
Bitcoin rally.
Well, Bitcoin rally, ETH rally, and some classic alts. I'm not saying they're going to 10x. I'm not even saying they're going to 2x, but some positivity in the next few weeks leading up to Thanksgiving. Time is almost out. I mean, it's almost a year.
And some positivity is not why we're in crypto, right? We're in crypto to make money. Some positivity is not really what we're looking for. We're looking for a 2x, a 3x, a 4x, 5x, something like that. We want to make some money in this bull run, and we just have not seen it.
Not consistently.
It has not showed up.
Not consistently, unless you've done some heavy digging and taken some high level risk. It has not been the same bull run as the last two, unfortunately. Like I said, I've read sentiment was an all-time low. I've been consuming less crypto myself in terms of other shows on YouTube. So I can imagine. Thank you for those of you guys that have stuck with us, right? We're just two regular guys that made it through a crypto bankruptcy in a very, very dark bear market. We were telling you guys to buy heavy at 25 Bitcoin as much as you could. Obviously, do your own research, and it's turned out well. We told you to buy ETH well below 2,000. That still turned out well. But I was hoping for everyone we would get one last push here. This would be the first October that's been in the red ever during the cycle like this. I'm holding out hope. 140 this month, no. But if we can get to 120 by the end, you might think I'm crazy. We can get to 120 by the end of next week, and maybe, just maybe, squeeze out a couple more weeks in November, maybe. But yes, you're right. You have to be open to the idea that 126 could have been the top. That's a low top, but our top last cycle was in the 60s. We went down to 16K. There's been a lot going around the world that I think has really affected this bull run. Domestically, internationally, let's keep it real. We assumed that this presidency was going to be very, very good for the bull run. I don't know if you could say that's really happened. Because, the tariffs alone have provided a lot of red days. The speculation on tariffs, just that. Not talking about anything else. Not talking about the president launching his own token that really had no value. That was a money grab that took money away from other projects. We talked about it before. That's not good for the space, and it just a lot of bogus projects came and gone. They're still technically there, but sucking up money. It was Bitcoin's going to survive no matter who's in charge, right? That's the reality. That's not what we always thought. Nothing has fundamentally changed about Bitcoin. It's just my 150 to 180 is in some peril here. For this cycle, unless the cycles have been broken. Are you open to the interpretation that we are now in a new era and we no longer can really look at that 4-year cycles? And yes, over time, Bitcoin will go up, but it won't match what we've seen in 2021, 2017, and before.
I'm open to the idea of it one day happening, but I don't think we're there yet. I think you're still going to see a pretty sizable crypto winter. And if this is all we get to, then we could see Bitcoin fall below 100,000, well below 100,000.
Oh, yeah.
In another crypto winter.
If 126, big if I don't think it was, but if 126 was the top, you might see a 70K BTC 12 months from now. That's
what I was going to say is in a crypto winter, you could see it lose 50% of its value. But really, when you're talking about the altcoins, you could see a lot of these just get wiped out. So you really don't want to be holding these altcoins into crypto winter.
No. If you've made the determination, and please do your own research, if you're opposite of me, we're opposite of this. I don't think the cycle's over. But if you think the cycle's over and you're holding altcoins, again, please do your own research. probably not a good idea. If you're holding Bitcoin for the long term for the next 48 years, none of this really matters. You're waiting for the $1 million Bitcoin, the $500,000 Bitcoin, and hopefully, knock on wood, you're healthy enough to see it happen. This doesn't bother you, but a lot of people need to take those profits to live off comfortably over the next 48 years, and they don't necessarily have the ability to just hold for 8 to 12 years. We'll see what happens.
And remember, we're in a much different place economically than we were 4 or 8 years ago, especially when we're talking about inflation. We're talking about people struggling in the supermarket, not just the markets, but we're talking about people struggling to buy food in the supermarkets.
Yeah, but those people, the people that are buying altcoins, though, I'll push back a little bit. Are those the same people that are buying altcoins? Not necessarily. I still think there are enough whales to influence the market. You do need retail. Retail needs to think there's a reason to get in, though. And we kind of had that right after the election where we pushed to 100K. The problem is we just haven't moved. You remember XRP went from 50 cents to $3 in a short amount of time. So we had some crumbs of a typical bull run. It wasn't sustainable. That's the big problem. Remember what happened to Solana? It went from 20 to mid 200s. So can we get one more flurry? I think we can. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee it. That would be foolish. But the crazy thing is, once that chart that we always pull up, once the fear index is really low, normally that's when we get a big surge. And the greed index is the opposite right now. Everyone's in fear. And if everyone's in fear at 110, I'm going to put my optimist hat here. If this is our launching point, I think we could get well above that 126. But again, I think our time is limited. I don't believe in a super cycle leading into 2026. I, like you, don't think the cycles have been completely broken. So we might have a very, very short timeline here. Keep it here for the very latest. We'll try to definitely do better getting on the air more often here in the next couple weeks. Because, look, we're going to find out either way, I think, in the next 3 weeks is put up or shut up. If we're still here 3 weeks from now and we haven't broken the 110 barrier and we're back below 100, there's no way it's not over. Right? If you're headed towards Thanksgiving and we're under 100K, it's pretty obvious then that the top was 126. But we're sitting here next week and we're doing our second show, hopefully, and we've gotten well above 120 in a week leading into November. Now you've got my attention with rate cuts coming, the money reserve going up. There are some bullish things going on around behind the scenes. We just haven't seen it turn into anything in terms of any momentum. We can never get any momentum going forward. Every time we think when we got to that 126, I thought, okay, we're taking off. Then we had that huge nuclear blowout with the China tariff news. It was more about liquidations than that. We get back to 117, all the way back down to 107. Now we're at 110. Let's see where we go from here. We could use some type of, as they call November surprise. Now, I'm not talking about elections. I'm talking about this Bitcoin market. That would help because ETH still looks like it has some upside for the people that study the charts. But we do need some movement like now. Like I'm not talking about weeks from now. Like Monday, we should be well above 110. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, if we really want to make a new all-time high before the end of this cycle, we really need to see some more movement. But like you said, the tariffs have really dampened this bull run, especially for altcoins, but for Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, and look, sometimes in life you got to know when to take your loss. So if you're in the alts, you cannot, I got to say this, do your own research, but you can't just say, you know what, I'm just going to hold these during the bear. Trust me, you don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. Like you think, oh, how low could Dogecoin really go? How low could Injective or XRP? Much lower than it is now.
They can go way lower.
Much lower. You think
save
Bitcoin?
Save that money for a time where you can DCA back in.
Yeah. And it helps to that kind of helps tax wise in terms of level off your Bitcoin gains too. But if you're from Voyager and you have that huge loss from before, you probably don't have to worry about a lot of gains. You still got those losses to offset your gains. So take profits. If your plan is to take profits, everyone has to make that decision for themselves. But if you're not comfortable right now at 110 and you really think we topped off at 126, you've got to thank you very much, Tennessee. Really appreciate it. You got to think about taking the step, guys. I mean, we can't do it for you, right? We can't tell you to sell. We can't tell you to buy necessarily. I'll just say this. Once you reach your decision, you've done the research, you got to go for it, right? So if you're like me and you think we had 2 to 3 weeks, let's do it. But I know, Mr. FOMO, just to be transparent, you haven't sold your Bitcoin this cycle, have you?
No.
Okay. But a week from now, if we're sitting
that may change.
If you're sitting at 110, we might come back and you might set, because we're very transparent on the show, I'm done. I took whatever I could get, and I'm hoping for a better day. You just never know.
And even at 110, that's a sizable profit for me. So that's fine with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we were DCAing way back down in the 30s, 20s. Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. I have a funny feeling, could be wrong, I have a funny feeling next week is going to be a much better end to October than what we had. Thanks, Tennessee, by the way, for sticking with us. Thank you to all of you guys. Hey, we're not done. We're not giving up. We're still here. Please hit that like, that subscribe, bell notification, super chats if you want to help us out are greatly appreciated.